I'm very sick right now. A high-end gaming PC for $59 a month sounds too good to be true, right?
So NZXT is now letting people rent gaming PCs for as low as $49 a month, and you can cancel anytime, but is it actually worth it?
Well, that is exactly what NZXT's Flex program is promising, and that is today's sponsor of this video. Go to nzxt.com and join their new Flex program that isn't being allegedly called a scam by some people, a predatory scam by others.
If we planned to rent the PC for at least 3 years, it would be cheaper to take an illegal and possibly mob-backed loan for 175 days instead, and then own the computer at the end of it, assuming no kneecaps are busted in the process.
And also, this video is not sponsored by NZXT. That was a joke, aka a lie. NZXT has been dangling this shiny carrot in front of gamers, especially the young ones. The young ones, the teens, people who are itching to get their hands on some serious mega ultra hardware, but they're either too young or they don't have a job that makes enough money to where you can just drop $2K on a fucking PC, which that's most people, not just young people and teens, but young people and teens tend to be gamers, generally speaking.
NZXT's Flex rental program somehow gets even more duplicitous and disgusting when you realize it seems to prey upon mostly broke, vulnerable people at risk of debt traps and children.
And a lot of the copy surrounding the marketing for the Flex program is absolutely aimed at young people.
Unfortunately, what NZXT has created here a giant sinkhole in the industry where the industry as a whole, like PC just looks bad because of this. There's a lot of reasons PC industry looks bad right now, but this is going to be the one that's going to be talked about now for probably years at this point.
But all in all, the Flex program that we're talking about today that NZXT offers is a way for people to get a computer for a monthly fee.
What if you could have the PC you always wanted without having to spend thousands up front? Welcome to NZXT Flex, where you can now get a top-of-the-line gaming PC for as low as $59 a month.
And then, you don't have to pay that $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, whatever that fucking PC costs at the end of the day on your parts picker build list, your wish list on Amazon, Newegg, wherever.
I'm never buying a PC from Temu again. Like, watch what happens when I turn it on.
It's easier to just pay $60 a month, right? Especially if you're a young person who shouldn't be wasting $2,000 on a gaming computer. Oh, NZXT's marketing is flashy lights, big promises. And I'm a bug, so it works very well on me. They've also paid countless dollars to influencers in the form of brand deals to regurgitate talking points, very standard marketing practices. NZXT has saturated the tech world for a while now in terms of buying gaming computers and having a relationship with content creators.
You can now own Endgame on a PC starting at $59 a month with NZXT's new subscription flag.
You might have missed it, so let's just roll that back.
You can now own Endgame.
You cannot own this computer. NZXT's own rental program agreement makes that extremely clear. It is not something that can be owned. But that's what he said.
And they've been throwing around phrases like no strings attached and zero commitment. Like they're going out of style.
This is NZXT Flex, a subscription-based service that allows you to temporarily use their gaming PCs for as low as $59 a month, with no strings attached. NZXT Flex allows you to get a gaming PC anytime. They're offering a month-to-month subscription and no commitment. That means if you need a PC for a month or two, you can just send it right back with zero questions asked.
The problem lies when you read the fine print in these deals, in this policy, in this Flex program. When you read the fine print, it's not good. It's not good. So today we're going to be breaking that down.
This is a direct quote from the subscription agreement. You, grant operator of the business, a non-revocable, perpetual, non-exclusive, worldwide license to use and distribute, however operator sees fit, any and all images, video, correspondence, audio recordings, or other data and information.
Firstly, this all came about from a very long video that captured my attention from a channel called Gamers Nexus. And this type of thing happens and has happened quite a few times. And it's important for me, I believe, to cover it on my channel because I do a lot of internet drama and stuff. But this shit is what I really care about. I love tech and I love watching people just get caught and just get beat up by a crowd of angry people. Just I like watching that.
Along with this award, which we are shipping directly to the NZXT corporate headquarters in California, the company will also receive a free lifetime ban from being advertised on Gamers Nexus, and it can be the proud recipient of a brand new entry on our permanently banned advertisers list. They'll be listed alongside prestigious but generic categories for gambling, crypto scams, and gray market CD websites.
The Flex program on NZXT's website, it talks about freedom and flexibility. They're saying you can get a top tier gaming rig without breaking the bank. Sounds pretty fucking sweet and pretty fucking reasonable because computers are very expensive.
So you can get this $3,000 PC for only $120 a month. New PC parts and games are coming out every day. So before you dish out hundreds of dollars just to play a game on max settings, try this instead.
But hold on though, gamer, specifically onto your RGB keyboard, because things are about to get very, very messy. Turns out that $59 a month balloons quite a bit when you really look at it and you kind of think about the economics of the deal, return on investment. $59 a month, okay, that's really good. But then all this shit, what are you talking about? I'm gonna pay how much over 5 years and I'm not gonna own it? What the f? That's my new catchphrase. What the f? Comment down below, what the fuck? Hashtag what the fuck?
1 month after we rented a PC from them, they jacked up the price on us by another $96 per year. When we asked to cancel the subscription, they sent us a link that went to a 404 page that didn't work. They're now offering what they call a free monitor, keyboard, and mouse for $0 per month if you rent a PC. Except in connection with that deal, they increased the price by another $10 per month, or $120 per year, silently.
So that's bad. That's actually really bad. And while NZXT is busy telling you about all the awesome games you're gonna be playing, the Souls likes, the Scrolls likes, just fucking gaming, dude.
How are you? Been better. How about you? Not bad. Good to hear. Goodbye. Goodbye.
They're conveniently leaving out some pretty important details. Like I mentioned in passing, the fact that you're not going to own this thing. It's not a rent-to-own deal. It's not even close to that. You're getting fucked if you use the Flex program, genuinely. And I, as a true journalist, and a man who cares about asking the hard-hitting questions and pushing things that need to be pushed, about really just, you know, just, I don't know, fucking, I'm an iconoclast. I went ahead and signed up for the Flex deal myself, and maybe by the time this video comes out, I'll have my computer. They say it takes 3 to 5 days to get here, but it might close down by then, and I'm gonna push all their buttons. I'm gonna ask them about their predatory practices. I'm gonna do, I don't know. The fact that this came out in the way that it did is thanks to Gamers Nexus, a channel that I've been watching for quite a while, and they blew the lid off this whole thing. They found some very shocking discrepancies, evil shit in NZXT's terms of service. They reported that the subscription is not a rent-to-own program. At no point will the subscriber paying for this PC rental service own the rental devices or other services provided under the subscription.
Now, you cannot own this computer. NZXT's own rental program agreement makes that extremely clear. It is not something that can be owned. But that's what he said. Quote, "The subscription is not a rent-to-own program. At no point will subscriber own the rental devices or other services provided under this subscription, even if subscriber payments aggregate to more than the collective retail price for all services."
It's like that place where you go and rent furniture. What's that place where I couldn't wrap my mind around that when I was a kid. There's a place, like, it's called Aaron's maybe, where you go and just rent a fucking bed for a couple months? Why? That doesn't, I would rather just not have a bed. Why would you want to rent stuff? Just don't have furniture in your house. Who cares? Like, it's just fucking, it's a empty space. Be grateful with that. That's fine. This seems as confusing as that, but less confusing because you can play games on it. And the whole world is moving to the subscription model, the memberships model, because LTV is worth more than an individual customer, or so I've been told. That's lifetime value for those of you who are uninitiated in the eyes wide shut consumer capitalist parties that I'm involved in because of my candy company called Sour Boys. I know all this stuff. That's right though, folks. You could be paying for years and never actually own that sweet, sweet gaming rig that you can just like, I wonder if you can take it apart. Are you not allowed to take it apart? Are you not allowed to like open it and look inside of it? Because that's what I like to do. All of my computers are just open. They're just open with like the sides aren't even attached because I like opening them and looking inside them a lot. I like doing the same thing to my bride. That sounds kind of weird. That was supposed to be a weird serial killer joke, but it's like not. It's kind of really odd. Opening and looking inside of people. That's not a very funny joke. I shouldn't say that. I know you are in Vandersloot. But wait, there's more. And it gets worse. And I'm not just saying that to keep you interested. It's actually true. Remember the influencers I was talking about that were telling you how awesome the NZXT Flex program is? They're painting a picture of you renting a PC, winning a big gaming tournament, having fun with your friends, just gaming.
You could literally get one of these PCs for 1 month and then win a Fortnite tournament or something and have enough money to buy your own PC. Now, I'm not saying that you should do that because winning a Fortnite tournament can be pretty difficult, I'm not gonna lie, but who knows, maybe some of you guys are underground Fortnite pros.
And all this thanks to the Flex program and being able to afford your own mega gaming rig that just has its hairy nuts swinging in front of your face every single day, just right in front of it. Oh my God, I love gaming so much.
You don't need thousands of dollars to play on a high-end gaming PC. I introduce to you NZXT Flex, a gaming PC subscription. You heard that right. Starting at $59 a month, NZXT will send you one of their amazing high-end gaming PCs straight to your house, giving you the ability to play any of the latest video games without breaking the bank. No contracts, cancel anytime, and you can return it when you're done with it.
You see, these yarns these influencers been spinning are about as realistic as you thinking you'll become a millionaire by collecting bottle caps and rusty needles. You know what else? I'm Arizona sober. What's that mean? I haven't smoked meth in 8 months. The reality is that NZXT's Flex program is targeting vulnerable young consumers with pipe dreams. And it's fucked up. It's predatory. There's no doubt.
I thought at the end of 2 years, it would make more sense for you to then at that point be like, okay, you own the system clean and clear. Because as Steve showed with his charts, you paid more than double what that system's worth at the end of that 2 years, but at least you got to own it. Or at least, if you traded in the system for an upgrade that you could get at 2 years, you got some sort of credit because now they have that system back. They've made twice their money on what it's worth. They still have the system, give some sort of incentive to trade in. But no, because, well, predatory practices, right?
I don't know if it's a scam, to be honest. I can see where one would label this as a scam, but it's never really cut and dry. Like, I totally get it. I totally understand. I'm not defending NZXT in any way. They are absolutely preying on people's desires to game, and they're trying to capitalize on it as heavily as they possibly can in the same sense and same way that used car dealerships give out insanely predatory loans, loan sharks, payday loans. There is a terrible world of finance that's out there that's willing to just give you a lot of rope and a rickety stool to go along with it. Believe me, I've been there. NZXT is preying on people's desire to have the latest and greatest hardware, and they're not being upfront about the costs and long-term effects of this switch out leasing program and commitments that are involved. It's really, really, really strange.
As for who the customer is, NZXT's Flex rental program somehow gets even more duplicitous and disgusting when you realize it seems to prey upon mostly broke, vulnerable people at risk of debt traps and children.
And as for the influencers that have been unfortunate enough to be shilling this, I get it. I totally get it. You're supposed to do due diligence and research brands, but NZXT is such a reputable brand in the PC world, especially if you don't dig very deep. Most people don't. Let's be realistic. I've bought multiple NZXT PCs. I haven't in quite a few years, but the last PC that I bought for Tara, my editor, was an NZXT PC because there was a quick shipping deal and it was convenient and it was easy. And actually it was the Flex program, and that was 5 years ago. I paid 15 grand. No! Just kidding. At first glance, NZXT is a reputable brand, but if you dig a little bit deeper, there is quite a few little memes, little sus moments they've had along their career path. So I don't blame any of the people that have taken brand deals from them in the past. You know, feel free to hunt them down and cancel them or whatever, but I just don't think it's really worth all that. It's good to see this coming out now, though, and in the scale that it is coming out. I'm really glad that Gamer Nexus actually did what they did, and they turned down a massive brand deal and decided to make this video, which is going to be way better for them in the long run. They're going to be, I mean, this is awesome. I'm massive respect for the people at Gamers Nexus. It's an incredible channel.
Because of this investigation, we've decided to terminate a $23,000 ad campaign that NZXT had queued up for Q4, and NZXT has been notified now.
Now back to the Flex program, we have mentioned the no strings attached claim.
This is NZXT Flex, a subscription-based service that allows you to temporarily use their gaming PCs for as low as $59 a month with no strings attached.
Which is often used, but is also often just fucking marketing. There are always strings attached, no matter what. Stromboli's out there, and he wants you to die. And by die, it means he wants you to give him all your money. If you read the NZXT terms of service, there are quite a few strings attached. They've got clauses in there that let them use any data that they collect from you. And remember, this is a computer that you're going to be doing everything on. That is a massive fucking security risk. Anything you do on this computer, they can access that data. They can train shit based on the data that they collect from you using the computer. How you type, how you game, how you watch, how your mouse moves around. You know, all that stuff. They've got it all, dude. They've got, if you've been on the Flex program, you're fucked. And you're fucked. Everything sensitive in people's lives in the modern era is in some way adjacent or directly involved in a computer, a PC, iPhone, whatever. That data is extremely valuable, and it's just being collected and snorted left and right. And specifically by NZXT, it's just a very predatory thing that they're trying to do here. Or at least it seems like they're trying to do. I don't know.
Is there a good reason for that you can think of?
A good reason for the business or for the consumer?
For the business.
For the business, it's to sell your data.
Yeah, right, okay, all right.
But if it's on the hard drive and you return it to them, you've provided it to them, and it's pursuant to this agreement.
And it's in connection with the service.
It's in connection with the services.
The grift involved in this is that data is incredibly valuable, more valuable than computer parts that will be completely irrelevant in a couple years.
Big data has become one of the most attractive assets to investors. Companies like Snowflake, Teradata, and Palantir that do nothing but compile and manage billions of data points and turn them into useful information are worth billions of dollars. The data manager Snowflake was so attractive that they even got the legendary Warren Buffett to change his investing strategy around tech IPOs so he could include them in his portfolio. Those are just the companies that make sense of your data. The companies that can actually harvest it are worth trillions. And that's because your information is useful for so much more than just targeted advertising.
If they can gather all your data and keystrokes and emails and phone numbers and everything over the 3 years you're using this computer, and you already can pay a crazy interest rate, plus on top of that, they just get your entire life worth of data that they can sell to add another margin onto the profit of their already predatory pricing. That's fucked up. That's so fucked up. And it makes me really upset. It makes me want to run around on all fours, just fucking flinging shit at the CEO of NZXT. This guy. He seems like a nice guy, but I want to throw shit at him. That's weird. Can I say that? Are you legally allowed to say you want to throw shit at somebody? Because I really do. So much for privacy. Am I right, gamers? Here's a real fucking kicker. If that wasn't enough for you, the hardware itself used in these NZXT Flex program rigs, it's not exact, it's grifty, it's dishonest as well. Gamers Nexus found that NZXT is pulling a bit of an old switcheroo with their PCs. You see, the rental version of a PC like the Player 3 comes with an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4070 Ti. Good card, not too shabby, but if you actually buy the same model outright, you get the more powerful RTX 4070 Ti Super, which is a very significant difference.
If you then click on the Player 2 Prime for $159 per month, it has a 4070 Ti Super and a 7700X. It shows $159 per month and $129 per month, both selected, which should open a singularity and destroy the universe. It contains a 7700X and a 4070 Ti Super, but then clicking the buy button at the top switches us back to the Player 2 non-Prime, which is confusing at best, and then re-clicking the Player 2 Prime on the buy page again gets us to a computer with the same 4070 Ti, but somehow different performance numbers, presumably because NZXT is changing these so frequently that it's forgetting to update some of the other parts of the page that are dependent on the parts.
So why exactly would you subscribe with one that's slightly different than the one, slightly worse than the one that you're buying instead of subscribing to? It's because they're trying to mitigate liability. It's economics 101. It's Kafkaesque. It's Keynesian. It's not Kafkaesque. It might actually be I think it is Kafkaesque. This is Kafkaesque. I don't know if it's Keynesian. I'm a little rusty on my my economics. It's been a while since I was in elementary school, if you couldn't tell by my vocabulary. To make matters even worse, Gamers Nexus reported that NZXT's PC specs and prices can also change daily, which is fucked up. So good luck trying to keep track of what you're actually getting for your money. That doesn't seem very fair.
After 2 years, NZXT says it'll swap the PC out with an updated model and you can continue paying. Now, in theory, that would be the same rate, but they've already increased ours and they did so 1 month after we rented it. Cool. But it increased again. While we were writing this story, NZXT upped the price of this model to $130 a month and simultaneously launched a Black Friday deal claiming that you get free components at no cost, even though they literally just increased the price by $10 per month around the same time.
And it's especially not fair if you are a responsible consumer that actually considers their purchasing choices and they're not giving you clear, transparent information in regard to what you're buying. They're just like lying and saying, no strings attached, except for, of course, all the strings we will attach to you systemically, like Magellan circumnavigating the world. We will rotate around you, just attaching a string to every single atom of your data. We will suck you dry over the next 3.5 years. We will suck you dry in every single meaningful way. And we'll pretend like we had no idea when we get called out. We'll pretend, we'll say, oh, our head of digital did this stuff. It was his idea. You know, he was talking about buckets and there being holes in them. Throw some shit. How about that? Prices changing makes a little bit more sense than the PC specs changing day by day. You could feasibly refresh the page or leave in the morning and come back, and the PC you thought you were purchasing is now completely fucking different. It's a live service model for PCs. It's so dumb.
NZXT's Predatory program silently swaps parts between systems that share the same name when moving from purchase, which often has better components, to rental. We think they're hoping that people don't notice the downgrade. And their performance benchmarks are a misrepresentation and a lie. They have 2 different GPUs in 2 different systems with the same name for the system that have identical performance, even though the GPUs should be 15% at most different from each other.
It's not dumb, it's really smart, but it's evil though. It's demonic. So let's dig in a little bit deeper to what Gamers Nexus discovered exactly in regard to the Flex program. Trust me, guys, it is not the deal of the century that NZXT wants you to think it is. By the way, this video is sponsored by NZXT and their new Flex program. Also, go to sour.gg. Actually, this is a real sponsor. It's my own candy company. We have a new flavor every single fucking week, 3 Central Standard Time. We're not gonna fucking scam you. We make candy. It's candy. It's not healthy. It's literally just fucking candy. It's got natural flavors, natural dyes, and a little bit less sugar than our competitors, and it's made in Central Texas, but it's still candy. You got it. We got this flavor. We got this flavor. We got these 3 flavors. We actually are making enough candy to stay in stock now. Go buy some. Shipping will hopefully be cheaper very soon. We're doing a lot of awesome, really cool stuff to try and give you more value with my company. We don't want to steal your data and then reconstruct you. Yeah, I'm gonna hire a new head of digital, and he'll implement that. He'll implement that new vertical. I hate words. Anyways, go buy some candy. I would really appreciate it, and buy some for your friends and family. It makes an excellent stocking stuffer. I'm insanely grateful that you got, what the f is in my eye? I'm insanely grateful that you guys enjoy my videos, and insanely grateful when I see people actually purchasing the things that I invest my time in that I love to do. We have a new flavor coming out called Jingle Juice. It is based on the flavor of fruit punch that my grandmother has made since I was a child for Christmas every single year. She's actually here right now. It's awesome. So cool. I love her so much. And then next week we have yellow snow flavor. So keep an eye out for that. Neither of those will be around for very long. So yeah, go buy some stuff. Buy some candy. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys. Ever feel like you're being watched? No? Okay. Just me. I'm watching you. The GPU you think you're getting could be something entirely different if you wait too long to hit the order button, taking buyer's remorse to an entirely new level. The early bird does in fact get the worm, and by that I mean the early bird doesn't get fucked over by NZXT. Gamers Nexus found that NZXT's rental PCs often come with lower end parts than their purchase counterparts. For example, the Player 3 Prime PC we've mentioned before that you could buy outright now comes with a RTX 4090, which is pretty fucking sick. But if you're renting, you're automatically downgraded to an RTX 4080 Super. It's bad. It's just like the 4070 Ti, 4070 Super Ti. They continuously do that shit.
Yesterday, while we were writing this, the Player 3 Prime non-rental purchasable pre-built PC had an RTX 4090 in it, whereas the rental version of the exact same PC model had only a 4080 Super. The difference between these GPUs is over 30%, and seems to us to be so misleading that it's tantamount to fraud. During the time we were writing this piece, NZXT has changed these SKUs at least 4 times, yet it keeps the same name. The Player 3 Prime now is back down to a 4080 Super in the purchasable model from a 4090 just hours prior. But wait, they did it again. During the time we were editing the writing for the editing that we had to rewrite because they changed the change, they changed it again. Now there's a Player PC 4090 edition which is the same spec as the original Player 3 Prime that had a 4090 that was changed to a 4080 Super, except the Player PC 4090 edition is $3,999, and it says Black Friday sale, fire emoji, which is $50 more expensive than it was a few days ago.
This is an example that Gamers Nexus showed in their video. If you go to the NZXT website right now, you can find other examples of this. We tried it a couple times and it was different each time as well. I'm surprised that this program is even still open or allowed or legal after all this stuff's coming out. Oh no, NZXT is keeping things very exciting. Gamers Nexus also reported in their video that NZXT was changing the specs on the same model multiple times during their investigation, and we have proof of that as well. As of today, when we recorded this, it was a 4070 Ti Super and a 4070 Ti. Those are all drastically different things, and that's for the Player 3 Prime. It's really odd. It's like playing Russian roulette. It's playing Silicon Valley roulette, basically. One day you'll get great components when they feel like being omnipotent, and the next day you'll get shafted and predatorily taken advantage of by a massive company called NZXT. Pretty cool stuff. Now you might be thinking to yourself, because you're a normal person with a functioning brain, that surely NZXT can't just change things without telling anyone, right? Wrong, dumbass. Their terms of service specifically state that specifications are subject to change without notice. So basically, they can swap out your shiny new GPU for a fucking tater, all right? And you'd have no legal recourse if you get bait and switched.
NZXT has not only created scenarios where it could easily execute a bait and switch on you, it has also built it so that you explicitly agree to terms by purchase that they are not responsible for the accuracy of their own product listings. And they restrict your ability to even determine the accuracy of said listings because you have to return it unused.
Feels like they're selling fucking PC mystery boxes, or it's like an aspect of gambling. I really don't know. But in spite of that being in the terms of service, the performance is the same, right? That's actually what matters. Like, of course, just because you get an OEM board doesn't mean it's any better or worse than if you get the Asus Strix RTX beefy 500,000 Ti. What's the difference? A millisecond of some kind of measurement? I don't know. Surely the performance is the same, is it not? Well, no! Prepare to have your dumb mind blown. You're not dumb. I'm really sorry. I keep calling you dumb. You're not stupid. I respect you. I have a modicum of respect. I don't have any respect for you. I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are. I'm talking to my camera right now. It's like I'm supposed to pretend like this is real. Joking. Prepare to have your minds blown, because NZXT's got some funky, fucking stinky shit going on. Gamers Nexus found that the performance estimates for both the rental and purchase versions of the PCs didn't change, despite the significant differences in hardware.
And then re-clicking the Player 2 Prime on the buy page again gets us to a computer with the same 4070 Ti, but somehow different performance numbers, presumably because NZXT is changing these so frequently that it's forgetting to update some of the other parts of the page that are dependent on the parts.
It's like NZXT is using their own reality bending calculator to determine 2 + 2 = 5. Now, I love that. All right, guys. If I could get away with that shit, I would. Also, if I could breathe through my nose, I would love that. Ah, shit. So let's break down the real numbers. Gamers Nexus pointed out the difference between an RTX 4070 Ti and an RTX 4070 Ti Super could result in a gap of about 15% in terms of performance.
Player 3's bait and switch is pretty egregious. It lists a 4070 Ti Super for the purchase, but a 4070 Ti non-Super for the rental, which our testing shows should have a 10 to 11% difference at 4K and up to 15% in some situations. And yet somehow, NZXT's FPS numbers that it uses to sell computers claim literally frame for frame identical performance between GPUs that are demonstrably and publicly known to be different.
That's a huge gap. 15%, if you buy something that's $15,000 or $10,000, make it a little easier on myself, that's a savings of $1,500. That is not chump change. That's a lot of money. And when we're talking gaming, 15%, that's a lot. All right, you're getting 30 frames per second. 15% is 6. No, it's not. It's 4.5. Is it? I think it is. Yeah, it is. I'm pretty sure. Elementary school, that's how my education goes. If you cross-reference that performance gap with NZXT's marketing materials, they act as if it's all the same. It's like they're trying to convince you that a tricycle and a Harley will work at the same speed. Okay, it's not quite like that exactly. It's actually nothing at all like that. But you get what I'm saying.
This very same page, lower down, states 215 FPS average in Call of Duty at ultra high in one part of its Player 3 listing, but 140 FPS at ultra high in another. NZXT's own claims have a 54% range in them. Hilariously, NZXT's own warranty guarantees the FPS result to within 10%, which normally would be almost impossible to prove they were deviating from, but here, by default, at least one of these numbers will be more than 10% off of whatever you're getting. And that means that any computer they sold under false pretenses with these egregious errors would be warranted for replacement.
Maybe you could say this is a minor oversight. It's not, though. This is a systemic practice of marketing, aka misleading customers. That's what most marketing is from a reality perspective. And you can really get evil without breaking the law. NZXT is essentially running a high-tech shell game where the P under the cup is actually a top-tier GPU that keeps disappearing when you're not looking. And you're the dumbass in the situation, the shell game situation. So I keep calling you guys. I'm sorry. I'm really actually sorry. I don't know why I keep calling you that. I'm sorry. So anyways, what the f does this mean for you, the consumer guys? What it really means is you might think you're getting a cool computer, but in actuality, NZXT is delivering you a ball and chain, and you have to wear it for a long time, and they just get to make up all the rules beyond that point. So it's kind of and also it tracks you, and then they can sell your data. I've thrown around a lot of numbers up until this point. $59 a month. We've seen the Prime 3, $179 a month. Goes all the way up to $279. Yada, 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 yada. Gamers Nexus found that this program could cost you a staggering $15,540 over 5 years.
We ran the numbers. Over 5 years, one of their computers at $259 per month rental would cost you approximately $15,540 for a little over $2,000 worth of parts, and with zero ownership. For the same price, you could buy 7 equivalent pre-builts in those 5 years.
That's more than a decent car. It's more than a Chevy Bolt or whatever that little shitty piece of shit car is that's really cheap. That's actually not a shitty piece of shit. That's actually really cool. And this is for a computer that you're going to rent, not ever own, that you're just leasing. How is this legal? How is this even, there's constitutional laws for usury in terms of loans. I can't imagine that if a really big lawsuit went through, this wouldn't become more constitutional protection for people, preventing them from being taken advantage of by modern marketing practices and just the most it's just so predatory. This shouldn't be legal. The math gets way more up. I talked about 5 years, $15,000. Oh, you exceed the same cost of buying the same PC outright in 7 months.
If we planned to rent the PC for at least 3 years, it would be cheaper to take an illegal and possibly mob-backed loan for 175 days instead, and then own the computer at the end of it, assuming no kneecaps are busted in the process.
That's crazy. You're way better off saving up for a couple months and individually buying parts. At least you know what you're going to get, and then building a PC, or just saving up for a year and then buying a full pre-built or whatever. Not from NZXT, to be honest. But so yeah, it's a really bad deal, like an extremely bad deal. At least some car lease deals are okay and reasonable. This is terrible. This is terrible. I think the justification that they would try to use in this is that, oh, you get to swap it out with new hardware. There's hardware swap. But even that is so open-ended and vague that there's no guarantee. And every month over that first 7 or 8 months, whatever it is, within that first year, outside of that first year, they're making a massive killing off of you and getting all your data. It's just, why? What's the goal? I mean, to make a lot of money, I guess. But just what's the point? You're gonna get destroyed by the internet. They make it seem like it's a bargain, and you're actually getting shafted really hard in the butt. On top of all this, Gamers Nexus also uncovered a $96 annual price hike that kicks in after just 1 month of renting, which that's a nasty surprise for an unsuspecting customer.
1 month after we rented a PC from them, they jacked up the price on us by another $96 per year. When we asked to cancel the subscription, they sent us a link that went to a 404 page that didn't work.
Do you really expect someone buying a gaming PC, they just want to game and just have fun with their friends, to read the fine print? They're not buying a car. This isn't this insane long-term commitment. It isn't. It shouldn't be, but it is. It actually is, unfortunately. And that's NZXT's fault. Balls in their court. They suck. The worst part about all of this is that it's so vague and open-ended. It just seems like NZXT could someone over as much as they want, they have the option.
To us, it looks like NZXT has absolutely no interest in participating in a healthy ecosystem. It has joined the ranks of the greediest and most disgusting anti-consumer companies, we think, that are in this industry.
That's what all this is about, is them giving themselves the option to f you over and them doing everything they can to direct their marketing energy into making you want to give them the option to f you over as much as possible. They want to capture your heart, capture your mind, and then insert their... It's f***ed up. And once again, the bad part about this really is that it's predatory and it targets customers who may not have the means to purchase a PC outright. It's targeting people who, A, shouldn't be the ones spending $15,000 on a PC over 5 years, to be honest, and B, the people who need help to do this kind of... Some people need computers for jobs, and there's so many things you can do with a computer, let alone just enjoy your life a little bit more and entertain yourself a little bit more. Obviously, you don't need it, but that's not what they're saying. They're saying you need it, and they're saying, and here's a really easy, safe way to get it. It's a classic predatory trap into a cycle of debt. And people who are... I talked about them having a level of brand recognition and credibility and validity in the tech world. They do. They're excited to experience NZXT's products and potentially get into PC gaming maybe for the first time. And it's like, oh my God, I've never been able to buy a PC, and now I can get one for $179 a month. That's like 10 Netflix subscriptions. Seems like a lot, but better than $2,000 outright, I guess. And they make great parts too. I remember using some of their CPU coolers, I believe, at one point. I don't think I used anything else, though. This is something you'd expect after ripping a blinker at a used car lot, all right? You just get shafted. That's normal. But being taken advantage of and exploited by one of the top brands in the entire market, that's like Jaguar just over. And then me just thinking that's okay. It's not going to work out. Terms of service also just gets worse. NZXT can impose hefty fees for damages or late returns. For example, if you return a PC a day late, you could be hit with a fee equal to 2 weeks of rental payments, which is a lot of money. And it gets worse. Even after faithfully making payments for years, you still won't own the PC. It's not a rent-to-own deal. It's very clear. We have to make sure you guys know that. This isn't like you pay for a couple years and then you own it. No, if you decide to cancel your subscription, the saved videos, photos, games, documents, login information, keystrokes, the kernel of that PC goes back to NZXT and you have nothing, dude. That in and of itself is an incentive to never end your subscription. It's a hot potato. You can't get rid of it. Because if you get rid of it, maybe it's not a hot potato. It's the opposite. It's a cold potato. It's a magnetic potato, and you're ferrous metal. Or whatever. I don't know. On to the fine print, the rental agreement. It is a legal minefield. It's terrifying. In Gamers Nexus, they had a lawyer guy, a lawman, go over it, and there's a lot more information you'll be able to carve out of that video than this one, but it's pretty bad. Their terms of service include some eyebrow-raising clauses that, in my opinion, and I am very smart, these things wouldn't hold up in court. All right, guys, and I know that. I'm a magistrate or whatever. I'm not. I'm lying. I'm not.
Generally, in North Carolina, you'd have 3 years to bring that charge.
Right.
And again, that's not an internal dispute with the company. That's for a civil action. But by the language of this agreement, it appears that they're attempting to modify that and go from a 3-year statute of limitation and bring it to a 60-day statute of limitation, which I could not find any North Carolina precedent that involved a court upholding a 60-day statute of limitation modification contract.
Firstly, NZXT claims a non-revocable, perpetual, non-exclusive worldwide license. What the f does that mean? And that is to use and distribute any data that you provide. That means they own you, bitch. They own you, dummy. This actually means that they could potentially profit from your gaming habits or content without your consent. To perpetuity. All right, what the f is that? Why would you do that? Why is that a thing you would do? Whose idea was this?
Is there a good reason for that you can think of?
A good reason for the business or for the consumer?
For the business.
For the business, it's to sell your data.
Yeah, right, okay, all right.
But if it's on the hard drive and you return it to them, you've provided it to them, and it's pursuant to this agreement.
And it's in connection with the service.
It's in connection with the service.
Yeah.
So not only are you losing the device, you're also losing, and NZXT is gaining all of the thousands of hours you've poured into in terms of data and behavior into your computer from you signing into streaming services, gaming, browsing the web, etc. They're gaining all that extremely valuable data that you have curated for them, and they get to profit on you even more beyond the fact that you don't own it. And the pricing is extremely predatory. How is this legal? They market the Flex as a rental program, but the NZXT agreement explicitly states it's not rent to own. You could still pay more than retail price and own nothing at all. Vincent also noted that it's non-negotiable and it's a contract of adhesion, which means you either take the deal or leave it, and there's no wiggle room because one party has the power to draft the contract. You don't have a representative. There's no horse in the fight. There's no dog in the battle, or whatever the people say.
Most of these rental agreements, they are contracts of adhesion. They're kind of in a take it or leave it situation.
Yeah.
You're not really negotiating a lot of the terms, but there's still things that you can look for that will help indicate the fairness of the document generally, and also the intentions of the company you're doing business with.
Vincent also notes that there are differences between a company protecting their legitimate interests within the contract, whereas what NZXT has done in many instances is punish the consumer or leave consumers open to repercussions for not following very vague texts.
One of the major problems with the subscription agreement here is looking for terms that aren't punitive. And by punitive, I mean that there is a way of writing these kinds of agreements that protects the legitimate interests of the business engaged, in this case, in a subscription, in a rental agreement. But there are also ways of trying to protect the interests of the company that look more like they're just punishing consumers for not following hyper-technical rules or setting kind of impossibly high standards.
And we'll come back to this, but like the packaging, I guess.
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
They're just asking you and convincing you through marketing to let them hold your ball sack in their hands and just do with it whatever they want. They have your ball sack or your pussy or whatever. And then they're just like, this is mine now. Thank you. And you're just like, okay, here's $15,000. You're also responsible for all reasonable efforts to prevent damage during return shipping, which is very vague. That could be easily interpreted against you. If something goes wrong during shipping, UPS drops the box, destroys the PC. It's your fault. Maybe. That's what that means. It's your fault. Maybe. If we like you. If we've made enough money off you yet.
See by the language of the agreement that the customer is required to return the rental device using the original packaging. So now original packaging here is not defined, and so we would apply kind of a plain English understanding to that term. Packing paper, if there's 72 styrofoam peanuts, then you need 72 styrofoam peanuts.
It's the ultimate mitigation of liability. It's cringe, bro. It's cringe. There's no excuse for it. Now, let's circle back to the rising subscription costs and how this is codified in the NZXT agreement. If NZXT overcharges you, you have only 60 days to dispute that overcharge in writing. If you miss that window, according to their contract, you have accepted the charge and can no longer dispute it.
That speaks to a situation in which the company bills in excess of what the contract allows for. And by the terms of the agreement, if that occurs, the consumer has 60 days to notify the business in writing that this excessive billing has occurred. If they do not, per the agreement, the customer fully accepts the charge as legitimate and can no longer dispute it.
Right.
And so this is very concerning.
According to Vincent, he said it seems like an attempt by NZXT to reduce the statute of limitations in which any person can make a claim on a charge discrepancy from 3 years in North Carolina to 60 days.
Generally, in North Carolina, you'd have 3 years to bring that charge.
Right.
And again, that's not an internal dispute with the company. That's for a civil action. But by the language of this agreement, it appears that they're attempting to modify that and go from a 3-year statute of limitation and bring it to a 60-day statute of limitation, which I could not find any North Carolina precedent that involved a court upholding a 60-day statute of limitation modification contract.
Evil! Yet again! Vincent also shares that the 60-day claim window is like a federal fraudulent charges type thing, which is really bad. That's a bad look for them.
Okay. I will tell you that the UCC provisions, the Uniform Commercial Code that's been adopted by North Carolina, limits the reduction in statute of limitations, at least for the sale of goods, to no less than 1 year.
It feels conveniently like NZXT is subtly acknowledging that there is a fraudulent angle to their billing practice, and they're just like, yo, but it's all good because it's vague. It's fine. In written terms, we also have it here that NZXT reserves the right to change product information. This is back to them being able to swap shit out. That's written. It could be your GPU could be swapped for a lower model, a worse model, and according to their terms, that's completely fine. Epic. Evil! So yeah, this is a very bad look. they're f***ing you over, and the people that they're actively trying to f*** over are people who they shouldn't be trying to f*** over. That's pretty bad. And there's more. Gamers Nexus investigation revealed more troubling practices. NZXT's verification process to sign up to their Satan agreement is alarmingly lax. The team signed up for the Flex program using a fake name with no proper ID or credit check required.
NZXT asked us to upload a photo ID to prove some form of connection between the name and the purchaser to prevent fraud. We couldn't prove the identity of our customer because they don't exist. The name is fake, there is no ID. These are not the customers you are looking for, and so we didn't upload an ID for that customer name because there simply is not one. But NZXT wanted money, so it decided that we did. And we thought that would have been the end of things and we wouldn't have been able to get the rental PC, but a couple weeks later, a computer showed up. Interesting, since confirming the ID is actually impossible with the person we ordered it to.
No wonder they're trying to mitigate risk and liability as much as possible. This is loan shark, payday loan, nonsense, used car shit. Steve of Gamers Nexus said in his video, NZXT is misrepresenting the value and ownership of these rented PCs, and it's potentially trapping young customers in a cycle of debt they cannot escape. That, in my opinion, is absolutely true, and that's what that looks like. It's just in a new form. This has been happening for a very long time with payday loans and other usurious, horrible, evil practices that are technically legal. Used car dealerships, I don't know, dude. High interest rate. It's just sad that there are so many predatory people out there, and now there's another predatory entity on the PC market, NZXT. I just can't get over the fact that they get your data. That's insane. Imagine I took a full frontal booty shot and that becomes a stock image because I accidentally left it on a rented PC. So NZXT sold it to Alamy or Shutterstock or whatever the Adobe, which... and then it gets used in some kind. Imagine that, dude. My doink is just out there. Full frontal doink shot. Just, whoa. Whose beautiful doink is that? That's mine, bud. This is real bad, man. A lack of proper verification exacerbates all the issues. It makes it easy for people who are not financially stable or minors or individuals, whoever, to enter into these agreements. It's a trap set for people who they shouldn't be setting traps for. You know what demographic we need right now to add to our bottom line? Young people who trust us, who then we can exploit for a lot of money. That's who we need to add. Something we noticed that wasn't covered in the Gamers Nexus video was that the Flex program shows the same reviews as listings if you purchase the PC outright versus purchasing it as a subscription or whatever. With computers having different components, two different computers are getting the exact same review. It makes no sense at all. The rented version is getting the same reviews as the purchase version, and I know that because there are reviews from people talking about buying the PC, not renting it. So yeah, how have they responded? They were pretty active online. The day the video went live, they tweeted this. That is not exactly a response I was expecting, but I do appreciate it. That's a good, I can see who they're trying to scam here. The following day, though, they tweeted that they were aware of the concerns raised and were reviewing the situation. They promised an official statement soon, and that statement got community noted, saying that Gamers Nexus exposed them for predatory and anti-consumer practices. They haven't taken down the Flex rental service. It's still up. I bought one for this video. We'll see how it is. And there are still discrepancies in information and product offerings on the website. What can NZXT do to fix things? I don't know if there's a version of this where they come out as a virtuous brand or entity, but I can't really think that they are. Maybe give people PCs if they're buying PCs. Maybe that's what you should do. Maybe you should start there and don't swap out parts, you fools. It's pretty simple. My bet is they will no longer exist in a couple months. That's my bet. PCs are a hard market to get into, and they're really easy to just get bullied and pushed out of. Try supporting a company like Meta PCs. Use code OOMPA. They make good shit. I've got 4 of them in my office right now. Anyways, thanks for watching.